Nitpick. There's been a lot of buzz floating about the gaming sphere with Octopath Traveler. Popular figures have emerged in opposition or harmony to the positive review scores it's received across the board from gaming press outlets. Why has this game been so polarizing? Maybe I need to explain. Octopath sports some of the oldest RPG mechanics in the book, from random encounters transitioning into turn-based battles, plus blatantly obvious character tropes. And all of this is done purposefully. It doesn't take reading an online article to identify where these ideas originate from. We have an art style which lovingly translates what looks to be Super Nintendo-era textures and sprites into a fully realized 3D world. Walking along a 16-bit mountain range while realistically rendered water flows past is not only beautiful, it's hilarious. Octopath does everything in its power to pay homage to retro role-playing games. If you don't understand the appeal, that's because you aren't the target audience. Even if that does sound like a cop-out. Hell, Square Enix themselves were blown away by their great sales numbers considering how niche an audience it caters to, which caused worldwide shortages on release. To people purchasing this title and bagging it for unoriginality or slow pace, I think I'd be more sympathetic had there not been a massive wealth of info and 2 huge free demos on the eShop which perfectly showcased what to expect. Adding to this, Octopath isn't a game that transcends its own genre.
Why do you talk like such a fucking nerd?
A game transcends when players who usually aren't interested in a particular title's mechanics pick it up and enjoy it despite what they consider flaws. This is primarily achieved through combining genres. A good example is BioShock, where even if you aren't a fan of first-person shooters, the gripping story, beautiful environments, and freedom to approach combat in creative ways will hook you. Octopath lies on the other end of this spectrum, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But then come possible issues.
This is an 80-hour game. Or more. Multiple reviewers openly admit they only finished 1 or 2 of the 8 characters' stories before hanging their professional opinions out to dry.
In my 45 hours playing the game, I've only completed 2 full stories.
Even after 53 hours of play, I'm still not strong enough to defeat them. I've tried many times.
I've not finished the game. I've gotten a ways in. I'm not gonna really do a lot of spoilery stuff.
So my question is, at what point does a reviewer's impressions of a game become good enough for its final score? Let me use Super Mario 64 for some perspective.
Yeah, you know, I played up till the point where you used the star power to unlock the door, then I stopped. 10 out of 10. What the hell is Rainbow Ride and TikTok Clock?
Not to say this happens in-game, but think of a drastic quality drop further into the adventure many players won't see unless they pass the 60-hour mark. Or what if our reviewer gets tired of random encounters and combat gets stale, ultimately resulting in an incomplete game? These are just a few real possibilities that are completely lost when content creators provide a partial analysis. Back on BioShock, I'll admit to there being a drop-off point near the endgame after a certain character interaction which jarringly transitions players into feeling more like they're going through the motions of a stereotypical plot. I know critics only have an allotted time to wrap up their take before it becomes irrelevant and lost in the ocean of other opinions, leading to lowered viewership. I've experienced this firsthand. But it's for this very reason I pray consumers gravitate towards people who take their time crafting in-depth critiques. Joseph Anderson created an absolutely fantastic video on Mario Odyssey that, while obviously divisive, pinpointed some serious issues I hadn't seen anyone else discuss.
Link in the description if you want to watch that.
Again, when does an under half-finished product become enough to craft a final conclusion? At what point are we doing these games and our fans a disservice by caring more about clicks than proper criticism? Nitpick out. I've actually been playing through Octopath myself. Got about 15 hours in. Absolutely loving the game so far, but who's to say I still will when I've clocked 2 to 3 times that amount? Food for thought.